it's a general consensus that a serial killer just doesn't stop. In fact, they probably kill more frequently. You don't just stop. You will kill again.
The Long Island serial killer has been responsible for the deaths of at least 10 people over as many as 2 decades, their bodies ending up strewn along Ocean Parkway, which winds through the coastal communities of Gilgo Beach, Long Island. Now, authorities made their most recent discovery of bodies in 2011. In the past 5 years, where has the killer gone? And why have the killings stopped? Retired homicide detective Gary Britton and I had returned to Suffolk County to look into the Gilgo Beach mystery, and we met up with our old friend John Ray. Ray has been representing the mother of Shannan Gilbert, the Jersey City escort whose disappearance in May 2010 led to police finding the bodies along Ocean Parkway. Ray has been battling to find Shannan's killer, but just this summer, he and the Gilbert family suffered yet another tragedy, having to do with Shannan's mother, Marie, and Shannan's sister, Sarah.
In July, late July, she decides to murder her mother. She stabs her over 200 times and then tries to cut her head off. And the driving force for Sarah to do this is that she is convinced that her mother is a devil, possessed by the devil, and a witch. And the reason she's convinced that Mama is a witch is because Mama has practiced witchcraft. She has. Since she was 17 years old.
We were meeting Ray at a steakhouse in Hauppauge, Long Island to try something new. Food mixed with conversation about true crime. I'll admit, it was Gary's idea. Our main mission was to determine whether or not corruption in Suffolk County's police force had any impact on the Gilgo investigation. I asked Ray about James Burke, Suffolk's former chief, now in federal prison for corruption.
Did you ever have any interaction with James Burke?
I know Jim Burke, but on a different case.
In addition to the word of his legal client, Leanne, who said she had sex for money with Burke, Ray repeated the stories about Burke consorting with prostitutes.
Burke, all the while, as he was climbing up the ranks.
Yeah.
And notice the dates, late 90s on. Late 90s, that girl disappears, Jessica Taylor.
Right.
Disappears in, 2003? The first unidentified girl disappears in 1996. It's during that same period.
There's been no evidence to emerge that Burke had any connection to the unsolved killings on Gilgo Beach, and his lawyer has called that prospect absurd. But there is yet another question that remains about the Gilgo Beach killings. Are they the work of one killer or two?
One killer or more than one killer on Gilgo Beach.
The Gilbert girl was strangled.
Yeah.
Okay? There's other people that were dismembered.
Yeah.
You know, other people they're not quite sure.
Retired homicide detective Gary Britton and I were heading to Manhattan to talk to the producers of an investigative documentary series who profiled the Gilgo case and studied cases similar to it for over 2 years. Joshua Zeman and Rachel Mills had spoken to escorts, prostitutes, and even prowled the streets of Atlantic City, like Gary and I had when we were looking into Atlantic City's own serial killer, the Eastbound Strangler, who left 4 sex workers dead behind a motel in 2006. We wanted to talk to the filmmakers.
I'm 50 years old, it's winter time. This ain't for me. I'm going to Arizona where it's nice and warm. Let me know where my hack is cool. Sure? It's very cool, not because it's stylish.
So we asked them their opinion of the amount of killers who were operating on Gilgo.
I think there's definitely more than one.
Okay.
They're continuing their investigation even as we spoke to them.
Literally today, an hour before you came, we are finding out more information.
Can you tell us more?
Nope.
I don't even know what he's talking about right now, actually.
They also looked into the case of Shannan Gilbert, the Craigslist escort who disappeared in May of 2010. It's still unclear what happened to her. John Ray, her family's attorney, obtained a ruling from noted forensic pathologist Dr. Michael Bodden, saying that Shannan could have been strangled. But police have said she died from hypothermia. Josh said he agreed, especially in light of Shannan's sister Sarah's apparent mental illness.
Her sister stabbed her mother to death with a knife. You know what I'm saying? That's not a small degree of mental illness, that's a large degree of mental illness. I tend to put more credence into when she had an episode.
We agree with Ray.
It's 0% likelihood that she died on her own.
We left the meeting pondering what we had found out, and before I had a chance to vocalize a wild theory that leapt into my mind while we were talking to the filmmakers. Could the black market organ trade be somehow connected?
So it's possible that if someone was using these girls to harvest organs, they could have taken them and thrown her out there and she just decomposed.
I'm glad you didn't say that.
What?
What is this, a movie?
A serial killer on the loose, a corruption case still unfolding. What does the future hold for Suffolk County?
This is all being taped. Why else do you think he pled out so quickly for?
Could Burke himself be telling the tale of corruption on Long Island?
He was born a rat. Will always be a rat.